Good morning, everybody, and welcome. This morning I'm going to share with you a little tip that I picked up very recently. Everybody that has a larger cupboard or a cupboard with all your tins will probably find there's a tin that's been lying in the back of the cupboard for a long time. I know I bought mine at the beginning of lockdown. You buy it to keep a stock just in case, and you forget about it. And I had a tin of stewing steak, which I don't buy very often, but I do remember getting this at the start of lockdown to have as an emergency. So what I've done, I have looked it out obviously, and I've opened up the tin and put it into this casserole dish. And on my table here, that's not very good, sorry, I'll just move this out of the way at the moment. On my table here I have a red onion, which is a homegrown one that I only picked this morning, and I've cut both ends off. A pepper that is needing to be used up. These tomatoes here are homegrown tomatoes, but they've been in the fridge for a bit too long and they're a wee bit soft. So rather than using a tin of tomatoes to make my sauce, I'm going to use these. And these are homegrown chili peppers that I was given by my neighbour, but they're not that hot. I did have a quick taste beforehand, so they're going to be good. And then I used some of these tomatoes on last night's video, the tomatoes on the vine that I was given, and again they're getting quite soft, they're needing used up, so this is what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to put my fat, I've got a pot on the stove which I'll turn around in a wee minute, so I'm going to heat up the oil. Into the oil I'm going to add a little garlic and a little basil. So I'm just going to do that off camera just now, and then as I say, once I've cut up all the tomatoes and the peppers, I can then turn round. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to fry off the veg. Whoops, runaway pepper there. Okay, so just going to very sort of roughly chop. I don't want too big pieces of onion, but again I don't want it too tiny either. I'm wearing these gloves again, guys. I've still got this plaster. One of my nails cracked a week ago and I wanted to try and salvage it, so I have a plaster on it, having glued it together, and I'm hoping as the nail grows down it'll either just come off itself, or sometimes they can actually knit themselves back together, but it's cracked so far down that it's going to be quite painful if it came off. So I'm wearing the gloves. So I'm just going to chop all of this up. You can probably hear the onions frying away. Give that a little start, and while they're doing, I'm going to show you, they're quite small, these peppers, so I already took that end off just to taste to make sure that they weren't too hot. And all I'm going to do is top and tail, and then you'll notice inside, just similarly to the larger peppers, you've got the seeds and this sort of white pith that you really don't want. So all I'm going to do into my rubbish plate, I always have a plate or a bowl or a dish at work to put any bits of seeds or pith or skin that you don't want, and it just keeps your workstation nice and tidy. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got no seeds, and then just again roughly chop into small pieces the pepper, and then this big pepper here, and this this really is so easy, guys, because you're not having to worry about frying your mince from scratch and stand over it. It's not perhaps as nice as having the fresh mince or the fresh beef to do a chili beef or a chili mince, but it's quick. So, and as you chop each bit, I quite like to just stick it straight in to the frying pan or the pot and let the wee bits that you have actually cut up carry on frying, rather than you probably, if you were in the classroom situation, you would do all your prep first and then fry. But because I'm at home, it's quite good just to let things start, especially so that I can show you what I'm doing. Now this is only just for the 1 tin of beef steak, so I don't really need to use all of this veg. And what I might do actually is make a little pot of soup with the rest, which I might even wait and do on video. I just wanted to do a few. So I'll turn you around so that you can see what I'm doing at the cooker. Okay guys, so all I'm going to do now is just keep frying. The veg, it's starting to calm down a little now, because bear in mind the tin of steak has actually, it's in a gravy, so you don't really need to add too much of a sauce to this. So I'm going to keep that frying. I'm just going to go into the cupboard and get a little tomato puree, which can go in at the moment. Again, if you didn't have this, you could use a little bit of tomato sauce, tomato ketchup, because I say, I could, if I didn't have the fresh tomatoes, I could have used a tin of tomatoes, which would give you a lot more sauce. But the tin of gravy actually has, the tin of steak, sorry, is gravy in it. So there's quite a lot there. And I'm not really that bothered about it being too runny, because the gravy will be fine, and once you've added all these vegetables, it's going to give it a nice texture, so it's going to be quite thick. Quite a thick sauce. So that's coming along nicely. So what you could also do at this stage, you could add a little flour and then put some stock. You could have a beef stock to make it up into more of a sauce. But I'm probably just going to add it to the tin, because I say the tin has got a lot of gravy in it. So that should be okay. So I'll turn you back round, guys. Sorry about the noise in the background there. The iPad is sitting on a packet of rice, which is making the crackly sound. So I'm going to bring my pot over, and basically all I'm going to do to this is just add it in to the tin. Now if you were doing this in a restaurant, which you wouldn't because it's tin, but if you were, you would allow your sauce that you've just made to cool down first before you added it to the tin, because obviously the tin is cold. But we're not selling this, this is just for God and I, so it'll be fine. And all I'm going to do is mix that together, and that is giving me a lovely textured chili beef. And there really is no need, for the amount that we're having, there is really no need whatsoever for any more sauce. And if I try and tilt that, show you, and you can see it's moving around, it's quite runny there. So that is just perfect. So I'll put the lid on there. And that will go in the oven, and what I'll do, I'll probably put that in the oven at about 160 degrees around 6 o'clock and just let it slowly heat through, because everything's cooked. Obviously the tinned steak is already cooked and the vegetables there are fine. They're maybe a wee bit al dente, as we say in the catering trade, so they've got a little bit of a bite, but once they're in the oven they'll soften up again and they'll just be absolutely perfect. So there we go. Very quick, very easy chili beef. Hope you've enjoyed that, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day, and tune in tomorrow for something else, something different, I hope. Take care. Bye.